Welcome to War Thunder with Subdude. How y'all doing today? Well, I just got done watching another video of some possible upcoming new jets to the game. And honestly, I believe this one was a lot more realistic. A couple of different hunters, the Supermarine Swift, the Sea Vixen. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And the most unrealistic of them all, the English Electric Lightning. Now, I don't know whether this is all going to happen or not. I frankly doubt some of the other ones that they put forward because they sounded like, yeah, we just want to keep people excited and ginned up for the game. Um, but before that, what Gaijin needs to do is to start working on your maps and missions. My God, you have got some of the most ancient and idiotic maps in the game still. And it astounds me how worthless so many of these maps are. The Spain map, not the alternate history Spain, but the Spain map. Garbage incarnate. Absolute garbage. All it is big. The ground targets are so far away and there's so few of them. And by the way, you've updated the AAA to the point where it's stupid to go after ground targets. It's absolutely stupid. Now, I don't know whether that was intentional or whether that was a, oops, we did it again. But at this point, it isn't even worth going after ground targets. There's got to be a happy medium. Unfortunately, you don't know how to hit that. And it's really starting to tick some players off, including myself. But we'll get over that. Because I know you'll tinker with it again, and you'll make it better, and then it'll be too good, and then it'll be too bad, and then it'll be everywhere but in the middle and stay there. But I want to talk about all this hype about tier 6 possible jets. And the reason it's got to be a bunch of hype is because there's too many planes that have been jumped over. An American medium slant heavy bomber, the B-66. How about the B-45? Naval fighters. Now, somebody did mention that the F-4A was a Navy fighter. Yep, you're right. It was also a missile-only fighter, which means it probably won't be in the game for a while. But it also skipped over planes like, oh, I don't know, the F-11 Tiger, the F-8 Crusader. There's a couple of others from the Air Force. Let's see. Then there's the F-5D Skyray. The Air Force is missing something. Trying to remember what that plane was. Oh yeah, it was another Lockheed plane. And then you've got the Scorpion is missing. the F-89. So there's a lot of planes that are between what we have in game and what was being floated. And that's a good word for it, floated. And I really think that it's to keep the hype train running. Keep, the air players, oh, maybe we'll get something good, finally. Hell, you haven't even gone and filled in the World War II aircraft completely. Let me see. German Ju 188. German Ju 388. You haven't done those yet either. There's other stuff left to go. HE 280. You haven't done that. I want to see it. It might not be very good, but it is a plane that was built and flew. There's a lot that you're leaving off the table, Gaijin. A tremendous amount. There's British bombers. There's American planes. I'm sure there's Russian planes, although I don't know any of them. Japanese, I can't tell you. Italians, well, Italians, you better start looking further down the road. You know, they made some pretty exotic looking jets. Hey, France, there's another one that made some pretty exotic looking jets. So, before you go jumping off into wild expectations of I'm going to have my Phantom or I'm going to have my Aardvark, you better start thinking about it, because those planes are just incredibly powerful. And somebody goes, yeah, so what do you think they're going to do? The Navy guy, why are the Navy people going to, they've been getting all these things, and the Army's been getting all this stuff, and then there's helicopters. Well, yeah, there has been. But I said that they're going to get upset when Tier 6 jets come out, and if we get stuff like the Phantoms, the F-104 Starfighter, the Voodoo, I'll tell you what, they're going to get upset because they're not going to have a counter. One of the planes mentioned in the coming is the F-4G, the Wild Weasel. What anti-aircraft is going to be able to stand up against a plane that can lock them up by their radar emissions? Radar emissions, I know, it's a kind of an odd thing to be saying, especially seeing as how we don't have radar in the game. We just have a facsimile of radar. But being able to lock them up with their radar and fire a missile from 10 miles out. Yes, that would be a Shrike, and it can go that far. And the same thing goes for a Harm. It can go that far. And it's because they lock onto the radar, they fire the missile, and the missile then guides right down the beam of the radar. And guess what? Even if you shut the radar off, it's semi-homing. It will just remember the last point at which the radar was and go in and hit. So, the first thing you're going to see is that streak of white before the flash. boom, you're gone. And you'll never know where the plane is. So, Gaijin, you've got other things to attend to before you get to Tier 6. Although, like I said, this latest batch of possible Tier 6s, late Tier 5s, sounds pretty good, except for the English Electric Lightning. And for those of you that go, my lightning, go ahead. Download it. It's on War Thunder Live right now. You can get that. I believe it was Snozzletopf that created it. And you can fly it in-game right now in user-made missions. Just see what it's like. See what the airspeed is. The plane is too fast for the size of maps that we currently have in-game. Heck, if you got going up against something like the English Electric Lightning flying a Sabre, you would be lucky to even see it. It's even a CL-13. Because he could be so far over your head before you even got up to, 20,000 feet, he'd be at 40,000 feet. You guys do the metric conversion. But let's just say he would be way the hell and gone. And as a boomer zoomer, he could start from right over the top of you, where you won't see him. So, do I want to see these planes in game? Yup, eventually. Eventually. Just remember that word. Eventually. Do I see them coming in the next patch or two? No. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I admit it right now. I was wrong. But I don't think I am wrong. I think that this is somebody who's throwing out a bunch of hype to try and pull more people into Air Realistic. And that isn't going to work very well, because it's going to be patch after patch after patch with nothing that even looks vaguely like the planes they're saying. Now, we might get the F-100. We might get the Etendard. We might get, let's say, the Italian G91Y. Those are very acceptable planes. We might get the Super Mystere. We've got the Mystere 4, or Mystere 2. Well, I forget, and I'm not about to go looking. Oh, hell, I might as well look. I've got the plane. Yeah, we've got the Mystere 2s. We could go for the Mystere 4 or maybe the Super Mystere. But if we go with, like, the Etendard, are we going to get the anti-ship missile? If we get the anti-ship missile, Exocet, what's that going to do to naval forces? Because naval forces don't have anything that can handle an Exocet right now. I don't care how much AAA you've got on your destroyer or your cruiser. None of those cruisers or destroyers are even vaguely capable of handling something like an incoming Exocet. Which, again, far beyond the capabilities of the current boats in the game. Now, to handle something like that, are we going to get newer ships? Are we going to get the Oliver Hazard Perry class frigate? Are we going to get the Spruance class destroyer? How about the Kidd class destroyer? What about the Arleigh Burke or the Ticonderoga? Can't answer that question because those ships are way too new and they have real working radars and they depend upon those radars for their defense. And they have missiles, over the horizon shooting missiles. And the current maps that we're using right now are minuscule. Absolutely teeny tiny, itsy bitsy. We should be running on maps the size of, well, the Spain map would be a good start. We should be running on maps where we've got the entire English Channel. How about the Mediterranean? You know, there's a lot of ocean in a lot of these maps. But right now, naval forces are fighting on maps the size of postage stamps. The same goes for the armies. Ground forces are fighting on postage stamps too. Even when you get to something the size of, what is that? Fulda Gap. So there needs to be a lot more put into maps, missions, and the engine before we do anything else. Do I want to see these new planes? You betcha. You betcha. Do I think we're going to see them anytime soon? Not before 2020 at the earliest. Because too much has to change. And unless Gaijin's been holding back saying, hey, we got the engine already, and watch this plethora of new maps that we're going to roll out that are going to be 200 kilometers by 200 kilometers. Well, if they can't roll out maps that are 200 kilometers by 200 kilometers, supersonic jets of Mach 1.2 or better are a joke. That's fighting on a postage stamp. And like I said, the armaments that those planes can carry will overwhelm ground forces and naval forces. This Subdude signing out. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow, and we'll catch you in the sky in air realistic, probably around battle rating. Yeah, well, we're flying at 6 now, so y'all have a pleasant day. Bye-bye, folks.